Hi, it's Amy again from Select Travel Holidays, and we are continuing with our virtual touring and destinations festival. So this part is especially for solo travellers, and what we'll be looking at now is the second part. We've been introduced to Just You with Sarah giving us a wonderful presentation and a bit of an introduction and insight into what you can expect on a holiday with Just You. But now we're going to go a little bit behind the scenes, as I promised previously, with my interview with Lisa, the Product and Operations Director for Just You. So I had the opportunity to interview her about how she creates itineraries, what she needs to factor in, especially for solo travellers, and also, so there's a little bit of an insight into what makes a solo tour or solo traveller different. But some of these principles can, I guess, also be applied to, touring in general. So Just You do have a sister brand of more sort of like classic touring, Travelsphere, and she also creates and designs those itineraries as well. So we had a little chat, which I hope you will enjoy, and I hope it gives you some really interesting insight into not only solo travel, but how to create, touring, what goes behind it. I must admit, my inner little travel geek did really enjoy learning about that, and I hope you will too. So I'm Amy from Select Travel Holidays, and I'm here with Lisa, who is the Operations and Product Director of Just You and Travelsphere. So hi Lisa, thanks for joining us. We're obviously talking to our solo travellers in particular, so I guess we'll probably be looking more at Just You. But could you actually explain a little bit about Just You and Travelsphere? And I mean, you cover both brands, don't you, for product
Exactly.
and operations
Exactly.
directors. So what does that role actually entail? If you could just explain and what that is, please.
Oh, fabulous. And Amy, thank you so much for inviting Just You to be a part of this. As you mentioned, I look after product and operations for Just You and for a sister company called Travelsphere. We fall under the umbrella of a company called G Touring. And really, our objective is to create amazing guided holiday experiences for our customers. Specifically for Just You. Just You is our solo proposition. We were the first company to come up with these fantastic solo holidays. In terms of my role and what I actually am involved in, the product and operations teams are the two teams that I oversee. And for us, it's really important that the two teams work really closely together. So from a product point of view, we have a team of people that are involved in the meticulous planning of itineraries.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But in terms of creating itineraries, we have a team of people that are solely focused on putting together fantastic itineraries for our customers. And then from an operational point of view, we've got to deliver on those itineraries. So the two teams work incredibly closely together. And it's a fantastic role. I love my job. Every day I get up and work with people that are motivated to create fantastic itineraries and deliver them. So, for us, it's important. We get lots and lots of customer feedback that our operations team then channels that information back to our product team so that we continually working on putting out itineraries that are the best that are on offer. So yeah, it's a great company. We've been around for a number of years. We're absolutely motivated for both our Travelsphere itineraries, which Travelsphere is basically open-ended from couples to our customers are also single people,
Mm.
young people, older people. But for Just You, it's a pure solo proposition.
Okay, thank you. And obviously, I think those solo travellers are just as diverse as you get in, like you said, you get old and young and Travelsphere. I presume it's perhaps the same. Is there an average solo traveller?
It's so interesting because at one point when we were trying to look at our customer demographic as to who were actually traveling on our solo trips, the range is so diverse, from younger people wanting to get away from sort of hectic careers to older people that perhaps have just retired and are looking forward to an opportunity to travel in their retirement. It really is quite diverse. The average age for people that travel on a Just You program is sort of in the mid 40s to 50s, but
Mhm.
we have people ranging from early 20s all the way through to 70s, 80s. So certainly all ages travel with Just You. And I think the thing that's most appealing to them is the fact that it's like-minded solo travelers
Mhm.
that go on our trips. And what's so interesting is that people make friends for life on these programs, and we have a huge amount of repeat travelers that come along with us.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I suppose, oh, I've lost my thread there.
That's all right. That's okay.
um, I think you mentioned about the like-minded travellers. I think that's a common theme that we find in touring. Is it does bring perhaps some, it might first appearance be like unlikely people together, but the idea is that they've picked that itinerary, they've picked that trip because something in it, perhaps the destination, some of the activities, it inspired them. And for whatever reason, someone else of a different generation, different walk of life could also be, called to that sort of thing. And, you get that sort of meeting of the minds that you get in touring.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I
Mm.
think even from my point of view, I mean, it's become my career, and I've worked in this specific sector of travel, the guided holidays, guided tours, for the last 25 years. But
Mhm.
prior to that, I was an independent traveler. I call myself an independent traveler. I used to take off on trips myself, and I used to sit for hours planning and planning where I was going and how I was going to achieve it. And that's the great thing about touring, is that it takes that away.
Mm.
All the planning is done by your provider, in this case, Just You. We literally pay a lot of close attention to putting those itineraries together so that they appeal to a wide range of people. I think when people travel these days as solo travelers, we know that solo travelers are independent. They could be a married couple where the husband doesn't like to go on holiday, but his wife loves going on a trip every year. It could be somebody who's single and looking for companionship on a trip. It's a really diverse group of people, solo
Mm.
travelers. And the great thing about it is that all the planning is taken out of your hands. We are the experts in putting together itineraries. And when we create those itineraries, there has to be a balance of inclusions
Mm.
and free time for our customers, because we know that they're independent. We know that they like to do their own thing, but they also like to take part in group activities.
Mm.
And for us, what is key is that we put together itineraries with hotel rooms with no single supplement. So you're getting a fantastic and outstanding value proposition when traveling with us as well, because we negotiate with our partners the opportunity for our solo travelers to stay in single rooms with no single supplements. When we contract our hotels as well, they need to be close to things to do. So, can I walk into town and have a walk along the seafront? Can I do a little bit of shopping? Can I go to a fantastic restaurant? Some of our customers like to stay up later at night and like to perhaps go into town and sit in the square and have a coffee late at night. So
Mm.
all of these things have to be factored in when we create our programs. And then the key essential part of it is that we bring these like-minded people together. And so diverse, people of all different age gaps, people with different interests. We've got different itineraries that we tailor make to specific interests. So, for example, we have our classic touring program, which is really trips that take in the main site. So, if you've never been to Italy before, one of our classic touring programs would be fantastic.
Mm.
We also have our relax and discover products, which mean that customers that don't like to pack and unpack every couple of days and would prefer just staying in one hotel and doing day trips from that hotel, there's something in our program for those customers. And we also have our active trips. So lots of walking programs. They're not hectic. You don't have to have huge fitness levels, but
Yeah.
it involves putting together itineraries where every day we do a couple of hours scenic walking.
Mm.
And again, it's the opportunity to bring people together, to eat together. They have a fantastic tour manager who leads the group, giving them expert advice along the way. The safety of being part of a group is also really important to our customers as well. So, from having been an independent traveler myself, I absolutely became converted to the idea of traveling as part of a tour and meeting like-minded people. I think after having gone on a number of holidays by myself and looking back at my photographs and all the rest of it, there's some of those key moments where you wish that you'd been with somebody.
Yeah.
And a lot of our customers will keep in touch after having done one of our tours. They'll become lifelong friends. And in fact, a lot of them plan another Just You holiday the following year, traveling with somebody that they've met on a previous Just You trip.
Yeah, I can
So
see how
they're
that.
really powerful.
Yeah, I can see how that could happen because, often when you're sort of traveling and you're meeting people, you
Exactly.
talk about where you've previously been, perhaps where you'd like to go. And I can see how that conversation would happen quite organically. You've enjoyed this, the company of these people, and you've enjoyed, a Just You tour, for example, and you think, oh, yeah, let's go on another one and, get some of the gang together or something. You can see how
Absolutely.
it, is very
It
organic.
naturally happens. Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sometimes a solo traveler myself when I can't necessarily convince a friend to go along with me. So I have no problems to go, because you go on a solo tour with a group of like-minded people, and you've got, like you say, everything's been planned for you with a bit of free time so you can, have your own independence. But it's all, taken care of for you. I don't think that I would have the time to, like you said, you'd have to spend hours, planning and I mean, I'm happy to do that for my clients, but for my own
Exactly.
holiday, like, you kind of like, actually, no.
Exactly.
It's definitely,
Exactly
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean,
We take it out of your hands. I mean, I think the scope, we've got hundreds of departures. The kind of, I think taking that first step to going on one of these trips, for a lot of people, it changes their life. They have a
mm,
different view on traveling. Those destinations that are perhaps a little bit more out of the way.
mm,
We're taking a group of people, like-minded people, along with an expert tour manager. On ground, we have fantastic expert guides giving the more in-depth knowledge and information to our customers. And it's just that reassurance that there's somebody with you, that you're not doing it alone. I mean,
yeah,
these are independent people, and we really respect that. I think some of the negative connotations attached to going on a group tour is that it's
mm,
boring, that you'll be herded around, that
yeah,
you'll have to follow a flag. I mean, all of these things are so old fashioned.
mm,
Nowadays, group touring is really about bringing those like minded people together and making sure that we have the right person, the tour manager, leading that group and giving them that freedom and flexibility to be independent when they travel. So, that's really what we're all about. I think we're passionate about getting it right. We win awards for the fact that
mm.
our customers really believe in our solo proposition. And these are important people. And in the past, having to travel and pay hefty
Oh, yeah.
single supplements is dreadful. And so for us, it's all about making sure that we're negotiating the fact that our customers are getting a twin or double room for solo occupancy and not paying,
Mm.
twice the price for those rooms, and putting together exciting and innovative itineraries for those customers. It's really important to us.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I've sort of touched on some of the cornerstones of creating a tour itinerary, but perhaps if we would start from, like, the bare basics, how do you start to create a tour? I mean, you've spoken about the hotels. That's obviously
Mhm,
something important to consider.
mhm.
The location of them. But what else would you say is important to consider when creating an itinerary? And I know also we've mentioned that you do have a sister brand, TravelSphere. Do you think there's particular factors, and I guess we have probably also touched on a little bit of the fact that you need to remember
Sure.
that you're dealing with independent people. Um, but what factors do you try to take into consideration when creating an itinerary, especially designed for solo travelers?
Sure.
I should
I mean,
imagine there's some extra factors you might want to
exact.
consider.
There are a whole lot of things that we as a team do. It has to start with research and planning. It has to start with where are customers wanting to travel.
Mhm.
What are the travel trends for this particular segments of people? What are people looking for? And there's so many interesting things on television, new destinations. I often get asked, where is one place that I would love to go, and what's next on my bucket list. And I've been eyeing out a Just You itinerary for the last couple of months, desperate to take it. It's called Uzbekistan and the Silk Road. And
Yeah,
I
that's
watched the television series on ITV with Joanna Lumley, and it was like, I've never been to
mm,
Uzbekistan, but it's on my bucket list. And so, what will happen as a product team is that we'll sit and we'll say, what are the trends at the moment? We knew about this television
mm,
show that was coming up. We do our research. Can we put together a fantastic, innovative itinerary? Is who have we got on the ground,
yeah.
to help us? Inspecting hotels, making sure that the hotels meet our required standards. We use 4-star plus hotels for our customers, making sure that those hotels are close to public transport or close to city centres, and that they meet our minimum requirements and health and safety requirements. Is the itinerary hassle free for our customers? Making sure that we get a good balance of inclusions and free time. Again, some of the negative connotations attached to going on a tour is that everything is rushed and hurried and there's
Mm,
no free time. And we know that people like downtime. We know that people like the opportunity to do their own thing. You might be traveling as part of a group, but you also want that time to do something for yourself.
mm,
So there's a huge amount of research that goes into putting our itineraries together. Um, and we certainly get feedback from our customers at the end of their trips. We basically ask them in a questionnaire, where would you like to go to next? What's next on your bucket list? And then that meticulous planning stage kind of kicks in. And oftentimes we will speak to our travel agent partners.
mhm,
Travel agents are an incredible source of information to
yeah.
us. We really appreciate our loyal travel agent support. And of course, travel agents are actually speaking to those customers directly every day. So getting feedback from travel agents is really important for us as well. What are customers asking for? Where do they want to go to next? And then we do put an enormous amount of research into putting our itineraries together. From our point of view, the health and safety of our customers is number one paramount concern. We speak to our tour managers. We find out from them what customers are talking about on trips. And then really we just put together the appropriate research. We send somebody from our office to look at the hotels, to see how everything will work on the ground. And then we start selling that program. And every single trip that goes out, we get that feedback from our customers and we make sure that we've got it right, in terms of the delivery of those programs to our customers. So it can sometimes take, up to 2 years to
Yeah.
actually put an itinerary on sale. If we don't feel comfortable that an itinerary is going to deliver, we would rather kind of shelve it and revisit it until we know that
Mm.
it's going to deliver to our customers.
Yeah, because I suppose also, you could spend all that time planning something, and then there could be perhaps some sort of incident in that region that means that you have
For
to sort
sure.
of then pull back,
Exactly.
which, because I know there's some destinations, I, I don't know. I know previously you sold Iran, which is a destination I'd love to go to,
For
but
sure.
it's also one of those sort of potential hot potato destinations where,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I mean, just today, I know that people will view this at different times, but,
mm,
for example, Myanmar, the situation has
mm,
changed overnight in Myanmar. The situation changed very quickly in Egypt a couple of years ago. And
yeah,
I'm
it's
glad to say that's one of the
very,
destinations that's
mm,
coming back. Turkey is another
mm,
destination that went quiet for a couple of years. But again, health and safety of customers has to be
yeah,
paramount. Can we operate safely here, and make sure that our customers have a great time without worrying
mm,
what's going on? And unfortunately, we do sometimes have to make tough decisions about a destination and withdraw a program if the situation isn't great on the ground.
mm,
So, for us, it's important to have our finger on the pulse when it comes to local regions and what's happening on the ground as well. And with respect to that, we do use a lot of ground operators. We do have local partners in destination. For us, it's really important to have a finger on the pulse and to know what's going on, so that we make the right decision for our customers.
mm. I mean, okay, so we were just talking about when there's something in a specific region, but obviously there's been something affecting the entire whole world. You know,
Such a nightmare.
I'm sure everyone at home might have heard of it by now.
Oh, absolutely. The COVID word. I mean, oh, Amy, who would have thought that we would be in a situation that we're in at the moment? I mean, it just came, you know, it came kind of from nowhere. We were actually facing 2020, probably the best year that Just You was ever going to have. We had customers booked, everything was in place for us to have an exceptional year. And, you know, like everybody else, I mean, who would have thought that this would have come along? And it has come along. And, you know, for us, it's been as devastating as I'm sure it has been for every other travel agent in the business. Obviously, we're in a big fight at the moment. We're working with ABTA to try and promote, you know, some government assistance. It's such an important sector, and you know, people love going on holidays, and that's the game we're in. And we're just desperate to start operating again. But regrettably, we haven't operated a trip since March 2020. We are still not in a position to operate a trip right now as it stands. You know, for us, we need to get a real good grasp of how it's all going to unfold. And, you know, again, the safety, health, well-being of our customers is our number one priority. And until such time as we can make sure that our customers will be as safe as possible to travel, we're just not going to operate at the moment. And where we are at the moment is that we are following guidance and protocols that are being set by countries. Every day we check in with countries in Europe, Italy, Spain, Portugal, you know, what's going on in those countries. There's lots of government advisories and government bodies that are giving information when it comes to travel. But until such time as that our customers can travel as safely as possible, we're not in a position to operate. And we're desperate for that to happen. Our holidays are on sale. And we're looking after our customers. If they cannot travel, we're booking them forward. We're helping them to plan their next holiday. But we understand the frustration out there for everybody. And, you know, we would like to start operating our holidays as soon as it's safe to do so. And I can't say that we've been sitting on our laurels either. You know, for us, it's been an opportunity to, you know, to see if we can reinvent some of the things that we do, if we can perfect some of our itineraries. So we've really made sure that the time that we've had on hand, we've put to good use. And I'm sure everybody has been in the same place. We're just absolutely desperate to start taking our customers away on holidays. And we think of all our industry friends at the moment that are in the same place as us. We love what we do, and we're passionate about what we do. And we just hope that it returns to normal as soon as possible, whatever normal looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose initially there'll be perhaps an interim period where there will still be perhaps social distancing measures in place, or probably,
exactly.
I suppose you might have to start with perhaps, because you do also do tours in the UK, and so I guess you've got that. I mean, there's perhaps, because, you know, at the moment there's not really like an even rollout of vaccines, so it could be that there'll be some areas of the world where they're not as vaccinated as us, so that would perhaps, I don't know, prove obstacles, and obviously that would impact on local restrictions. So obviously COVID would have impacted on your itinerary planning. So what changes have you had to make? Because I should imagine I think you've mentioned about the protocols, or is it? It was difficult because when we don't have a definite date for when we can restart travel, and it must be such a nightmare for you.
It is an absolute nightmare, and you know, we've had to really sit back and look very, very closely at all sorts of different elements of our itineraries. I mean, we package together things like coach transportation, transfers, hotels, everything from our guide proposition all the way through to the vehicles that we use. We're working with all of our partners to make sure that whatever local government restrictions or laws or guidance are put in place, that we're ready for that. And, you know, it ranges from looking at things that we will supply on our coaches, you know, antibacterial wipes to mask wearing, et cetera, et cetera. What's interesting is that there are different rules in different countries. So again, it's bringing all of that information together. We work with ABTA. We in close contact with them, finding out what's happening in terms of advice and guidance. We know that there are local restrictions in place in certain areas, and it's just about making sure that we are across all of those restrictions and protocols, so that when we are able to start operating again, that we do so effectively, and with our customers' health and safety in mind. And the reality is that we had hoped to try and operate some trips in sort of October last year. We made the decision that there were so many unknown aspects of operating those trips. We decided that we would go ahead and cancel those. So I think providing reassurance to our customers that we've got everything in hand, and that we are have our finger on the pulse in terms of information that's available, and that we will start operating as soon as it's deemed safe to do so. That's our position at the moment, and just hoping that more and more people get vaccinated, that the countries in which we operate to are also able to access vaccinations, and that we can start traveling safely. That's where we sit at the moment. We've got lots of partners that are on the ground supplying us daily with updates, but it's difficult. We have customers that phone up and say, what's happening. They're all very understanding. They all understand that we won't send them somewhere unless we deem it to be safe to do so. So it's a difficult one to answer. Because everybody is kind of in the same boat. When can we start going on holiday? That's part of human nature, is this huge desire to travel again and to socialize and to meet up with our friends and loved ones and go on holiday. That's a huge, huge motivating factor. And as soon as we can do so, we can't wait to start operating again.
Okay, thank you. So, I mean, other than the COVID things, what is new for Just You Tours? Because I should imagine have you been looking at new products, like new itineraries, destinations? Which are you perhaps most excited about? Are there any particular sort of organised excursions that are new that you think, wow, I'm really pleased we got that one, sewn in?
Exactly. What we've done is we've kind of revisited all of our programs, and we have a new range of UK itineraries. There are 5 brand new UK programs that we've put into play. And instead of kind of exploring new destinations, some of the things that we had that were new and planned to be new, we've unfortunately had to shelve. And we're really focusing on our core product at the moment. Looking at those destinations where we carry the majority of our customers. Europe is huge for our customers. They love going to Italy. Italy is one of our number 1 destinations, certainly from a Europe point of view. Looking at some of our long haul destinations like the United States and Canada and Australia and New Zealand, and speaking with our agents and kind of perfecting our programs. I think some of the language we use at the moment, that everybody seems to be talking about is, that insider perspective with local flavors, making sure that we have great inclusions for our customers that really showcase the destination. So in terms of new destinations, we had actually introduced a whole lot of new destinations and new itineraries at the start of 2021. Places like Uganda, we had a brand new itinerary in Texas and the Cajun area. Really, we've just been kind of looking at all of those programs and making sure that, when we are able to deliver those programs, that they're in top form. So looking at some of the elements that make up part of our programs and making sure that those are great and good to go. But every year we know that people pick up a brochure, a Just You brochure, and they're looking for that next big destination. So I can assure you that we're already hot on the heels of 2022, 2023, and planning even further into the future, and making sure that we've got some fantastic new product for our customers as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. So, I mean, we've obviously talked a lot about the actual itineraries, but I think one of the key things really of any touring holiday is actually going to be the tour managers. So could you perhaps tell us a bit more about the role of a tour manager and, the importance of that, and what skills do they need, and I mean, I don't suppose they have a typical day, but if they did, what would that look like? On
Um, it is the most fantastic job is to be a tour manager. I was actually a tour manager myself for 15 years before
Yeah.
I got into working in the office and planning and delivering of itineraries. I spent 15 years working as a tour manager myself, and it's very difficult to put the characteristics of a tour manager in a box, but they need to be good at planning, time management. They need to be good at finances and making sure that everything is in place in terms of getting our customers into attractions and all the rest of it. But the number one key tour manager characteristic is that they need to be a people person. They need to be able to listen to our customers.
Yeah.
They need to be able to engage with our customers. They need to have empathy. And they need to have knowledge of a destination. But I mean, I always say to tour managers, I'm involved in the interviewing of tour managers that work for Just You. You know, it's not about how much you know, it's about how you make a customer feel when they're on a trip. That really is key. So knowledge is, although it's important to be knowledgeable, what we're really looking for is somebody who's charismatic and that can engage with our customers and make sure that they have the best possible holiday experience. And that's really something that's very hard to and put in a bottle or on a job description. It's you've either got that kind of magic or you haven't. And you know, we're lucky in that we have over 200 fantastic tour managers who work with us. And these tour managers are passionate about people, and they're passionate about making sure that our customers have a great time when they travel with us. So, you know, from my point of view, we want that tour manager to be a friend to our customers in that destination, the person that you go to if you need anything. And that really is far more important than knowledge. Of course, knowledge is important. And they have been to the destinations before. They know those destinations like the back of their hand. So part of their job is the daily planning of the itinerary, when our customers will have their breakfast and then how the day will unfold. And then they communicate that to the customers. Here's your free time. This is where I'd recommend you to go for lunch. If you want a good place to go to this evening on the square, this is a great restaurant. So those personal recommendations and lots and lots of advice on places that our customers can go in their free time. They're able to think on their feet. They can troubleshoot situations. You know, all sorts of different things may happen in a day. There could be a coach breakdown. There could be a museum that's closed all of a sudden. And they have to be able to think on their feet and make sure that those customers that are paying for a great holiday will still receive a holiday no matter what happens. So yeah, they're very special and we're very proud of them. And you know, it's, as I say, it's really difficult to distill into a couple of words what how important a tour manager is, but they can make or break a holiday for our customers. And I think you cannot underestimate how important it is to have the right people leading our programs. And we're really proud of our tour managers.
Yeah, I mean, there must be like a heck of a lot of responsibility placed on them, because I mean, what if someone was ill or had an accident? You know, there could be, you know, all manner of, you know, things that could go wrong, and you'd have to sort of not only look after that person or people, but the rest of the group as well. I mean, yeah,
it's an incredibly rewarding job, and it's a tough job at the same time, because number one, you're away from your family and friends. And that responsibility it's a big responsibility to look after a group of people and to make sure that those people are treated as individuals as part of the group, you know, making sure not everybody is the same makeup in terms of characteristics. You know, some people are very outgoing, some people are shy, and some people, you know, like their own time. So it's about observing those characteristics and understanding the people that you're traveling with that makes them incredibly successful. But they are incredibly important to us at Just You, and they fulfill a fantastic role in making sure that our customers get the most out of their holiday experience. So yeah, they do on a day-to-day basis. There could be a customer who's not feeling well. There could be somebody that needs medical attention. There could be somebody who doesn't turn up.
Yeah.
and maybe they've taken a wrong turn, and it's about making sure that you reunite that person with the group, etc., etc. All in a day's work for a tour manager. They're very, very skilled, and we have a great experience at Just You. These are people that kind of know how to deal with our groups,
Mm.
and they get, how do we find them? It takes a long time
Yeah.
to find tour managers, and we're very fortunate. We've got a lot of tour managers that have worked for us for years and years and years. Our customers also do an evaluation on a tour manager at the end of a trip. So, we feel that we've really come to know who our tour managers are over the last couple of years.
And I suppose also as a tour manager, like you mentioned that they have to be, I guess, responsive to how people are, idiosyncratic in their ways. But I guess if they're with a group of solo travelers, I mean, some of those solo travelers, it could be like their 10th, they could be like well in there, but for some it could be like their first time ever doing any solo travel. It could be quite daunting for them. It could be, perhaps they could be recently widowed or recently divorced and just getting out their shell for the first time. Whereas I guess if you're in a normal classic, where you're perhaps in couples, you've got a safety cushion with you built in. But, someone perhaps traveling solo for the first time who perhaps isn't naturally the most outgoing or the most confident, I guess a really good tour manager for Just You would also be someone who can help make people feel comfortable, at ease, and make them feel safe in their first solo
Exactly.
experience. And that's probably absolutely vital.
Exactly. I mean, Amy, to your point, I think the biggest step for somebody considering a solo holiday is booking it.
Yeah.
Because once you've booked it, you literally just have to turn up. And I think to your point, we understand that everybody is different. But to your point, there is a desire to travel somewhere independently. And I think once you've booked it, the rest is taken care of. You meet up with your tour manager, you have a rapport with your tour manager, and then you meet this group of people that also have that will and desire to go traveling. And I think that is one of the biggest things. Once you've done a solo tour, you'll understand the benefits of it, and that is why we have such a huge repeat business, is that people understand, wow, why did it take me so long to book that trip? Because actually this is a fantastic way to travel. I'm with like-minded travelers. I feel safe because I'm with a group. I have a tour manager whose telephone number I have, and I know that I have a travel company that provides 24-hour contact. I'm in a fantastic destination with like-minded people doing extraordinary things, and really I think it's just taking that first step to go on a solo tour that's the hardest part for a lot of people. And once you've done it, you realize the benefits of it. It's so hassle-free. The ease of just turning up and letting somebody else take care of all the details, having the comfort of your own room with ensuite facilities and not having to share with anybody, because a lot of our solo travelers value that independence and value that privacy. They want to be treated as an individual, not as a group. And I think that's what we can afford people that are considering going somewhere as a solo traveler. It's a fabulous way to travel. It really is. And you make friends for life.
Yeah. And it really boosts your own confidence as well, I think travel does. But I think particularly if you're, traveling solo, I mean, just that whole step of doing something for yourself, really, it's so rewarding. But also I think it's nice that you're not just doing it completely alone, because then you can actually then, over a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or something, share with the rest of you. For example, you go to some places like, seeing the Taj Mahal, or Machu Picchu. Who really wants to see that completely by themselves and not then say to like someone, say, wow, wasn't that just amazing? Travel really is, I say this a lot, about how it's about connections. It's you get that opportunity to meet like-minded people. You also get to perhaps see how other people live, when you go to immerse yourself in different cultures, interact with like the local communities. And then it's also about sharing those experiences at the time with the rest of your group, but also when you go back home and you sort of share those memories. It's so much about connections. And I think actually what we've learned over the last year is really it's such an integral part of the human experience, isn't it?
Psyche, absolutely. It's who we are. It's what we want, is that connection. We want to catch up with our friends and our family. We want to make new friends and family. And I was brought up by parents that said, travel is the school of life, Lisa. And it really is for me. To sum it up, I mean, I think that's what it's always been for me. It's an opportunity to learn something new and to see something different. And those little differences are what makes the world go round. Is that not everybody is the same. We're not all carbon copies of each other. And when you travel with other people, and hear their opinions and their thoughts, and you go somewhere that's absolutely awesome and mind-blowing. I mean, I think those are my fondest travel memories. Taking groups of people and standing in front of, you mentioned some of those sites earlier, Petra and Jordan, and these UNESCO World Heritage sites. They're so called for a reason. They take your breath away. The Grand Canyon, taking a group and seeing that for the first time. And even around this incredible country, I remember coming to this country for the first time and seeing some of the awesome sites and beautiful cathedrals and incredible countryside. It really is the school of life. It kind of, you weave your life's tapestry by traveling and meeting up with great people. And I think that is something that group travel definitely affords, is the opportunity to make new friends and have incredible experiences and really enrich your life. For sure. We're desperate to travel again. Absolutely. I feel like a caged lion, desperate to get out.
I mean, I've always thought zoos are cruel.
Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, I can't wait for the opportunity to travel again. And I think something we've also come to appreciate is that, on our doorstep, we just have so much on offer. And of course, Europe is just so diverse. There's so much to do in a short distance from the UK. So, we're really lucky. It's not like Australians and New Zealanders that have to travel halfway around the world to get somewhere. For us, we have got so much on our doorstep, and there's so much rich culture and great things to see in Europe. So we're very, very lucky.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know we probably have touched on some of the differences. We've talked quite a bit specifically about some of the needs for a solo traveller. But would you say that there's many differences, in how a solo travel differs from particularly couples, friends, or families going on tour together?
I think, in my opinion, I think not so much. Not so much. I think everybody's looking for a similar sort of experience, and for us, I think what we realized, having operated TravelSphere trips for such a long period of time, TravelSphere has been around for a very, very, very long time. And what we realized is that sometimes when we had solo travelers traveling as part of a group with lots of couples, they kind of felt a little bit left out. It's like, oh, well, who am I going to sit with this evening at dinner? And so by creating Just You, we really gave people the opportunity, those people that thought, oh, it would be so fantastic to travel with like-minded travelers. We really gave them a solution. Interestingly, we still have solo travelers that travel on TravelSphere. But for perhaps first timers that are looking at going on a trip and are worried that they might feel left out or alone, this brand really delivers on that solo travel idea of like-minded travelers, the safety net, the security of knowing that you're traveling with people that feel the same way, and maybe a little bit anxious or apprehensive about going on holiday by themselves. This really is almost like a security blanket, is that don't worry about it. You're going to be traveling with people that feel exactly the same way as you do. And we know for a fact that our customers love the style of traveling. They love to be treated in the same way as people traveling as a couple on a group. That's making sure that they have their own single room with ensuite facilities, not having to pay exorbitant prices for that privilege, is really what Just You pushes forward, is the fact that we know our customers choose to travel solo, and we honor and respect that, really. And I think that's what is so great about Just You as a travel brand, is that we've really answered some of the concerns that people had about group travel. Will I feel all alone? We've kind of created this fantastic solution for them.
Excellent, thank you. I mean, perhaps moving away from a little bit about this, let's perhaps talk a little bit about some of your own experiences of touring. So do you perhaps touched on, some of the amazing things you've seen. Do you have any favorite memories that you'd like to share,
I mean,
if you
so
can?
interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so interesting. I still keep in touch with people that traveled with me 20, 30 years ago.
Mm.
I used to work for a youth touring brand, was my first venture into tour management. And, these are people that I traveled around Europe in the 1990s. Oh, I'm showing my age here. But, I'm still in touch with some of those people that met each other, friends for life, people that are now married. And you know, I, one, I'm not huge on social media, but one of the joys about Facebook is that I have these things cropping up. This is what you were doing 8 years ago. This is
Yeah.
what you were doing 7 years ago. Those travel memories are. I kind of used to use Facebook a lot for posting some of my travel pictures, and
Mm.
I love to encourage people to travel. And again, I was brought up by parents that had this ethos about traveling. My parents are travelers. I believe it's in everybody's DNA to get out there and see things. And, some of the most vivid memories for me are taking people to see incredible sights for the first time
Mm.
and, sitting down and having great conversations with customers and talking about all sorts of interesting bits and pieces and those friends for life. Sometimes it's interesting, it's not so much about the place, but it's about the people that you're
Mm.
with, and you can kind of capture that moment that you were there doing something with like-minded people. And I think that's a huge difference. And the way I used to travel, when I first started traveling, I traveled pretty much everywhere by myself with a backpack. Um, and the major difference for me is when I discovered touring is the fact that you have those unique moments that you shared with somebody. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big differences. I love to travel, and no matter what capacity, I love to travel. But I think that really is something that traveling as part of a group gives you, is that
Mm.
camaraderie, that friendship, and those connections. And yeah, there's so many little stories and funny moments and broken down coaches. And I remember in my early career we did these really long trips of 45 days, and they were
Mm.
kind of hardcore
Yeah.
Australians and New Zealanders that were doing these trips, and broken down on the side of a country road in Turkey, 10 hours in the middle
Yeah.
from nowhere. And yet those memories still linger. It was like that shared, we're going to get through this. And certainly coach touring has changed tremendously. I think people have got valuable and precious time now, and they
Mm.
also need that time to relax and unwind. So those kind of arduous itineraries that used to exist in the early 1990s have changed significantly. um, Time is so precious, and making sure that you're utilizing that time and the right combination of seeing those tick box
Mm.
items and making sure that you have time to immerse yourself into the culture and taste fantastic food, etc., has become ever important. And it's my passion, it's my life's work. I've worked in travel since I left high school. And
Mm.
we certainly work in this industry because we're passionate about travel ourselves.
That's
None
definitely
of us are going to be multimillionaires working in travel. We do it because we love people and we love travel, and it's such an important part of life. And
true. Mm.
I suppose when I'm retired one day and sitting at home, all those memories come flashing back. And I'll never forget. I mean, I've lived in this country for a long time now, but certainly growing up, I grew up in Zimbabwe in Africa. My dream was to come to London and see, the Houses of Parliament
Yeah.
and Big Ben and, the Tower of London. That was my dream. And when I arrived in London, my dream then became seeing the Eiffel Tower and the
Yeah.
Leaning Tower of Pisa and going to Pompeii and
Mm.
looking at the excavations, etc. So, it then got bigger and bigger. I
Yeah.
wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I wanted to go to Petra,
Mm.
which is absolutely mind blowing. And then, of
That's on my
course,
list.
yeah, in my later years, I've done a lot of travel in Africa, which is where I'm from. I mean, sometimes it's difficult. You go far afield, but you don't
Yeah.
actually explore your backyard. And I've done lots of traveling around the UK and Africa, Namibia, one of our itineraries in Namibia. And Namibia is
Oh.
breathtaking. You know, South Africa, phenomenal destination. Kenya, Egypt. We're actually going back to Egypt.
Yeah.
We've got some programs lined up for Turkey. You know, these are all amazing destinations that customers love. So, you know, so many memories over the years. You know, it's those moments that I sit and I remember that time with those people and make those connections again. It's fantastic. That's what I love about travel.
Mm. I mean, you might have already answered this one about if you had to pick a just you, because I know you mentioned the Uzbekistan.
Oh yeah,
Is that top of your
Uzbekistan.
list of just
It is. It is. It is. It's definitely top of my list. I suppose as I'm getting older, I enjoy a little bit of luxury as well. So I've also, if I think about it, there's also another trip that I'm desperate to do, and that's the Rocky Mountaineer in Canada.
Oh, very nice.
I've been to Canada multiple times, but I've never actually done the Rocky Mountaineer. So that's also on my list. I've got a couple of places that are queued in my next to travel to list. I've been very, very lucky, very, very lucky in my life. I've done a lot of traveling. I've been to, you know, I've been to some extraordinary places. I speak about memorable places quite often. I think Petra in Jordan for me was one of the most incredible places I've ever visited. You know, all the incredible religious sites that exist in that area as well. Really fascinating places to visit, in the Dead Sea and the desert of Jordan. Absolutely beautiful. But for me, Uzbekistan, having watched that Joanna Lumley television series, I was just blown away by it. I thought, wow, that looks extraordinary and so different. And then I go to Canada as often as I can. I'm absolutely in love with British Columbia, you know, the west coast of Canada. It's so beautiful. Vancouver's lovely. And I visited there many times, but I've never done the Rocky Mountaineer. So it's a big ticket item. I've got to do a little bit more saving before I get there, Amy, but that's definitely on my bucket list as well.
But I also think that there's sometimes it's those sort of experiences, like, I mean, for me, one of the things I'd love to do would be the Venice Simple and Orient Express, because I'm a massive fan of Crystal Van. You know, sometimes it's like those big names that you just have to, you know, you could do it another way, probably cheaper, but well, definitely cheaper. But you know, it wouldn't be the same unless.
Absolutely. And I think also, we've also got to spoil ourselves sometimes. You know, we work hard, everybody works hard, and, you know, we're so busy with our careers and with our lives that sometimes a bit of escapism and setting yourself that goal to do something really extraordinary that might be a high ticket item is well worth it. So yeah, I can understand why you would want to do that. I think train journeys are really quite extraordinary, but I met somebody who works on the Rocky Mountaineer, and she said, Lisa, you've just got to do it. I mean, it is absolutely spectacular. The views from it are amazing. So that's on my list. It's definitely on my list.
Excellent. Thank you.
I could talk about travel all day, Amy. All day.
Oh, I actually sometimes get a little bit emotional while I'm talking about it.
Oh no, for sure. And we've missed it so much. It's a bad time to talk about it because we get so emotional. We're just desperate to get out there and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's been, you know, so long. And like you say, it's such a huge part of who we are.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, I think working in this industry, like you say, it's so full of like passionate people.
Oh no, definitely. It's a special industry, and you know, I love working in this industry because I've met so many incredible people that again have that passion for travel. And you know, I suppose after you've paid for your house and bought your car and educated your children, you know, it's a huge investment, travel, and it's something, you know, we take really seriously, and it's something that we want to be great at. And I think, you know, that's the thing about travel, is that it's that lifelong memory that you will always have, no matter where you go, what you do. You know, you've been somewhere extraordinary and had an amazing experience, and it's not always necessarily the places, but it's the people that you meet along the way that make it so worthwhile. Definitely.
Thank you.
I've loved the escapism of talking to you, Amy.
I know. It's so good. I do have just one more question.
Yes, sure, of course.
And it's what advice would you give to someone who is perhaps considering solo travel for the first time?
Well, that's easy, Amy. I would say just do it.
Yeah.
Speak to your travel agent. Travel agents are great friends to anybody looking to book a trip. Speak to your travel agent, get some good advice off your travel agent. There's a whole world out there to discover. And your travel agent is your best friend. They will give you the expert advice about what you need to do, what insurance you need to put in place. But my advice is just get out there and do it. Whether it's a solo holiday, whether it's a tour, whether it's a cruise, get out there and travel as soon as you possibly can.
Mm.
Do it safely. I think it's been such a tough time in our industry. And, from all of us at Just You, we just want to wish everybody well. And we will get through this. And we hope
Yeah.
for some sort of normality as soon as possible. So keep your chin up and just go for it. And thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to have a chat about Just You. It's a great brand. We're really proud of what we do. And we would love to welcome some of your customers onto one of our trips. And thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this, Amy. Cheers.
That's okay, and thanks so much for your time. It's been so nice talking to you.
No worries.
Answers, learning about how you put a tour together and about your tour managers, and actually just sharing our love of travel. That's been great. So
fantastic. Thank you very much, honestly.
Sure
and I hope to catch up with you again sometime. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sure viewers have enjoyed it as well. So thanks for that.
So that was my interview with Lisa from Just You and Travelsphere. I really hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I found it really interesting and I learned a lot, and like I said, my inner travel geek was very happy. And I think it was a great insight into I guess the mechanisms behind travel and touring, and very interesting, I thought, and I hope you agree. If you do have any questions, or you want to find out more about Just You, or would like to, or even Travelsphere, or then give us a call on 01 234 326 778, or email us sales@cruiseselect.co.uk. And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed our special two-parter on solo travel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our virtual touring and destinations festival. Thank you.